What can I do when I'm stuck inside you? This cell of ice and fire, what blood red death, lost in desire, smell of life.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Whole Damn Enchilada Podcast. Rick Paulton, Ryan Inman, and our guest down here, we have Rakefet Abergel, the director of the new film Still, that will be debuting at the International Cleveland Film Festival. I think that's what
Cleveland International Film Festival.
Whatever,
It's those words in some order.
That's it. So I tried before we went on. I said we're gonna try not to suck, and we already sucked. I played the wrong video. Did you notice that? I played the wrestling intro for a second.
Oh, is that?
I was like, oh no, wrong video. Not the one that gets us kicked off the air. The old one where
I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
Probably
it was the world class thing.
That thing was cool.
Yeah.
I had to, but not relevant to this show, unfortunately.
Right on. So
I actually ran upstairs to get a prop that we'll talk about later. You'll know what it is. It was in my work pants still, so I had to go upstairs real quick. So I missed the intro video.
Interesting. All right, so we got Rob Dowell, St. John's Michigan Jason in the house. JP Stockman. Hey, what's up, brother?
Oh, JP is my producer for Still. Welcome.
Okay, is he the producer that you mentioned was going to be at the film festival?
Yeah, they're the ones that are going to be there.
Cool.
Have all the stickers and the postcards and posters and all sorts of goodies to give away, and probably do the Q&A and everything too.
Awesome. This is my first experience with a film festival. I don't know what to do. I never did one of these things.
You just watch.
I'm
You
good at watching movies. I do that a lot.
Yeah.
You've been preparing for this your whole life. What do you mean?
Lots of practice, man. You're qualified.
My son works downtown, and he goes to, when they were in Tower City, he would go to them every year. So I talked to him about it. I was like, is this something I got to dress fancy for? He said, you probably should dress a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think at 9:50 p.m. on a Friday.
That's what I was thinking too.
Not. Also, it's an after-hours program, so it's going to be probably more of a horror / genre crowd, I'm guessing.
So I'll wear my best Friday the 13th shirt.
But yeah, that, and it's Cleveland, not LA, man.
That too. That too.
I mean, I'll at least put on sleeves, but that's it.
You've got sleeves. I don't think you should cover those up.
Oh, those, yeah. Well, I take those with me everywhere.
Yeah, let's do that.
Right on. So first of all, thanks for taking the time to join us. I've been following I don't know how I caught a teaser of the film like a while ago, and I've been following you on Facebook ever since, like looking forward to this coming out. I was very intrigued about it.
Thanks.
And so yeah, pretty excited to finally get to see the finished product and to be able to see it like on I imagine somewhat of a big screen at a film festival.
I think it's gonna be a pretty big screen. It's a really nice theater, and it's a huge festival, big deal festival.
I think it's really good that they used to have a theater in Tower City, downtown Cleveland, and that's where they would hold it every year. And they moved it to our theater district. And I don't know if you've ever been to Cleveland, but our theater district, from what I understand from people that do the theater thing, is up there with it's not quite New York, but it's up there with a lot of the theaters in the US. It's really nice.
It's nice, but it's a bit off the beaten path though too.
Oh, is it? It's not like in the main.
Yeah, it is. It's on like the mainest street we have. It's on Euclid.
Oh, I'm talking about the arts district, not the theater district.
Oh, yeah. No, you're good. Yeah. It's right there. Bam. Yeah, the street that we reserve for our sports teams parades, it has not gotten much use.
Yes. Well, I don't know anything about sports. If you ask me sports questions, I won't know. I won't know.
Right on. So
it is opening day.
It is opening day.
I know it's like a big weekend or like big week because like all sorts of people. There's like conventions and sports things and all this stuff happening, and all the hotels are ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Major League Baseball's opening day is today. So
there you go.
So how did you first get into film? Like, how did you get your start in film?
Well, I started out as an actor. And I probably started that. I mean, I was always an actor. When I was younger, I did plays and theater and whatever, but I guess professionally, right when I got out of college, I started doing extra work because I wanted to kind of get into the business. And I didn't know anyone in the business, and I had no way of getting into the business. Like, I was connected in any way. And everyone's like, just do extra work. And that's kind of how you get in, and you get your SAG card. And then, so I did. And I actually, people are like, it'll take you years to get your SAG card, years. And it took me like a week because I got really lucky. I got cast as an extra on this movie called She's All That. No, yeah, She's All That.
Okay.
Seen that one.
Freddie Prinze Jr. and the girl, what's her name?
Rachel Lee Cook.
Rachel Lee Cook.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking this is.
Takes her glasses off and she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Wow, it happened again.
I know, it makes all the difference. But I had it for a week, and for whatever reason, they have to have like a certain amount of SAG extras for their contract. So even non-union actors sometimes got SAG vouchers, like you work as a SAG actor that day. And if you get 3 of them, you can apply to be in SAG and pay and whatever. And I got like 6 the first week.
Cool.
So, and then I did that for a while. And then I got a part as an extra on My Name is Earl, which is one of my favorite shows. And Jason Lee was like, it's Jason Lee. And I had a scene with him, and all I do is like make this face. Like he walks by and says something to me, and I made some like face or whatever. And then they called me, and they called my extras agent, like, and they were like, we love her. We want her to come back and say a line as the same character. And they were like, we don't usually do this. It's kind of unusual, whatever. And I had to audition, even though they were asking me. Anyway, I auditioned. They gave me the line. And then once I had the line, I was like, I'm never doing extra work again. I was like, so I stopped doing extra work and started just working. And I got an agent, and I ended up at a really big agency. And then I booked a bunch of stuff like New Girl and Shameless and iCarly and Superbad and Just Go With It and My Best Friend's Girl and Zeke and Luther and Drake and Josh and
all kinds of stuff.
A lot of big things, yeah.
Yeah, I started working a lot, and then I started doing stand up, and I was a stand up for like 7 years, and then I got branded a comedian, which means that they wouldn't like take me seriously for anything else. Like comedy was the only thing I could do according to this industry just loves putting people in boxes. It's just easier that way. You're a comedian, you're this, you're that. And being a plus size female, I automatically also was comedic, which is odd because I don't know. It just seems like what's the correlation? But and then I decided I wanted to do more dramatic things because that was more what I always wanted to do. And I wasn't booking those things, and I wasn't getting called in for those things. So I said, I'm going to write the darkest thing that I can, and I'm going to star in it. And I'm going to show these people that I can do non-comedic things also. And that was Jack's in Love, which was my first film. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I still have no idea what I'm doing.
I disagree with that. There's no way that's true. I did see Jack's in Love. I really liked it. I thought it had like some like A24 type horror movie vibes, if that makes sense.
Thanks. That's a compliment.
Yeah, along the lines of them. Definitely not like the Blumhouse type of horror movies.
No. I honestly, I didn't think it was a horror movie. If you've seen any of my other interviews, I'm not a huge horror fan.
Well,
which is embarrassing to say on a horror podcast. It wasn't because I don't like it or I think it's bad or it's not good or I'm terrified. I'm scared of everything. I'm just scared of everything. I have anxiety and everything scares me. And so horror was always just too fright. I saw Child's Play when I was too young. I saw when I was too young. Like that kind of stuff just scarred me. And so Jax to me was a drama about a girl who's troubled and, Anyway, we started submitting it and it started getting put in horror programs. And I was like, why? I didn't understand what was horror about it. Because it's not like there's there's not like a big body count. There's not a lot of gore. There's not a lot of.
There's a 20-minute movie where 3 people get killed.
But you only see one. So, it's not like we're not like.
Implications. That's a pretty decent body count for a 20-minute movie.
You don't see anything. Like, I always thought horror had to be gory. Like, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was at the time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm now a much more mature horror connoisseur because I've been involved in the horror genre for now like 7 or 8 years. So I definitely am more of a horror person than I was. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt that says "Creep It Real" with a skeleton on it. But yeah, so I had no idea. And then all of a sudden I'm like thrust into the horror world and they're like interviewing me for Women in Horror Month and you're of this and this. And I'm like, and it was like, and people were asking me like, what's your favorite horror movie? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't really seen that many. Like it was almost embarrassing. It's
throw one out there next time.
Just say Halloween 1978. Nobody will question.
Right.
That's a good one.
I said Scream, I think, because that was the only horror movie I really liked. At the time, at least. Now I could name probably a few that I liked. And I also really loved The Sixth Sense. So those were like my go-to. What's your favorite horror movies?
Man, that movie was so well made, but I fucking figured it out like halfway through.
Did you? I did.
My daughter would have if she's seen it.
I'm a huge Twilight Zone guy, though. That's my thing.
Oh, so you're kind of used to the twist, like the idea.
So I was like, what?
Kind of
I'm like, what is
twist.
this going to be? You know?
Right. So that's kind of what turned. It really affected my writing because I was like, I want these twists. These twists, which are very hard to do, and I don't always succeed. Depending on who you ask, I've succeeded or not. Like some people are like, I knew it from the beginning, and other people are like, I didn't see it coming, which I think you would have with anything. But yeah, I talk a lot, so you just interrupt me.
Oh, that's totally cool. Totally cool for sure. So I did catch some of your stand-up. I thought you were pretty funny for sure.
No.
Oh, thanks.
Doing my research, trying to find as much stuff as I could. What's up, Brian?
I had a question about that. You mentioned you have problems with anxiety. I do too. So I was wondering, how the hell do you even get up there to do stand-up if you have anxiety problems?
I think first of all, it's worse now than it was at that time. I don't know if I would have done it now versus when I was younger. Yeah. Like after COVID and the lockdown, after the pandemic, my anxiety like shot through the roof just in general. But even then, I always get nervous when I did plays and stuff growing up, but I was never like a stage fright kind of a person. Like I would get nervous, like, it's nerve wracking. I want to make sure I do a good job and I don't forget my lines. But I kind of I love performing. Like I love it. I love it more than anything, more than directing, more than writing, more than anything. That's my.
So you're answering all my questions I have written down.
Oh, I told you to stop me.
I was gonna ask. I noticed that you did a little bit of everything: acting, producing, writing. I was gonna say, what do you like to do best? But you answered that. So
acting is probably my favorite, but like I kind of love all of those things for different reasons. Like I love directing because I'm also like a control freak, and I like to decide how things are going to go. And so that's kind of what directing is making a lot of decisions and, kind of being the final word on things. And I like writing because it doesn't involve other people, which I also enjoy, like just kind of being by myself and just not having to discuss it or talk about it or whatever. I'm just doing it. So
I also seen that you had a credit with The Price is Right.
Oh yeah, I've been on a few game shows actually.
Cleveland's own Drew Carey in there, and I tried to find footage of it. I was going to play it, but I couldn't.
He was so nice. We did that during the pandemic, so they didn't have an audience.
Oh,
it was
really?
Just the contestants, and it was the creepiest, most dystopian experience I've ever had. Because it's just like I one day I'm going to make a short about it because a game show without an audience is just like. It's creepy.
That could be a Twilight Zone type deal.
Yeah.
It is because there's bells and whistles and they're telling you to woo, clap, and it's like echoing in the empty space. and there's no real reason for you to woo and clap because the whole thing is just so muted.
I can
And
just see
then-
this idea she's having in black and white with
Yeah.
Rod Serling setting it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was so bizarre. And then of course I didn't actually get to play. I mean, I came up to play, but someone kept outbidding me by like 1 cent or I don't know, whatever it was.
Oh, they hit you with the you
And
bid
so I never got
400,
to
they go
play.
401.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I was on a show called Street Smarts one time, and I won like $3,000 on that show.
I think I've heard of that one. My sister-in-law
Street Smarts,
watches all
isn't that the
stuff.
one where the guy would walk around bars and ask you for
Yeah.
like different trivia? Was that the?
He
was
would
that the-
ask people trivia, and then in the game show, you had to decide, does this person know the answer or not?
Okay.
Which was like, can you read a person? Can you read if they might know the answer or not? Kind of a
I think
thing.
I was at a bar one night where they came up and started shooting that.
Well,
and
what's
I
funny is
wanted
I
to-
can't
I
remember the
wanted
host's name now for some reason, but the host of that show, when I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, like, I don't know, 15 years later, was the warm-up guy. And I was like, wow, you've really not done well. Like, it's kind of like you're going the opposite direction. And he was so nice, and I felt so bad, but he recognized me. He's like, you were on my show. And I was like, I was on your show.
Wow. That's impressive. You probably had so many people on there, and it was so long ago.
Well, and it was a time, like, I remember the most you could win was $3,000, which at the time was like crazy. And here I am on Millionaire, where obviously you
Yeah.
can win $1 million.
$1 million, yeah.
And I think I won $2,800 because I won the show and I almost got every single thing right. And then I went and bought a video camera with it because I just wanted to. It was a $2,800 video camera, and I just wanted to like film stuff.
Like Betsy Palmer with her car.
I was gonna go there.
I know you
You
were.
say I know. Betsy
Yeah.
Palmer, you know who she is, right?
Is that like a?
She was the actress in Friday the 13th Part
Ah,
1, but
see,
she
I
was an
don't know.
accomplished stage actress prior, and she only took the job because she needed $10,000 for a car,
Oh, that's so great.
and that's what it paid was 10 grand.
I love it. I
Yep.
love it.
The only reason. And she like literally said, nobody will ever see this piece of shit, you know?
Right, of course. Yeah. Now it's only like the movie of
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of the most famous horror movies. of all
she made countless millions from being in that later, from
Oh, for
convention
sure.
circuit and autographs and all that.
Mhm.
So
That's so funny. Well, super bad. I got paid super poorly.
oh yeah.
And because
Scale?
it was a
Just
small,
scale?
low budget, it wasn't even scale.
Not
it was
even
like,
scale.
It was $1,200 for the week,
Whoa.
wow.
which is not like $1,200 a day. Maybe was closer to what you should
Yeah.
be getting.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Well, Michael Cera's in it. Nobody knew who Jonah Hill was. Nobody
Not
knew
yet,
who Emma Stone was. They said Seth Rogen's in it, and Michael Cera's in it, and Bill Hader's in it.
My
And-
favorite part of that movie is Bill Hader.
Yeah,
Right.
he's great.
I mean, he's amazing.
He is.
But my first residual check was $10,000.
Okay, that makes sense
Yeah.
because I was just about to say I work at a check cashing store, and I've actually like I call them my semi-famous clients where they've
Yeah.
they've had like 5 minutes in a movie or something, and they'll bring me a check from like Paramount or something. And I had what was the movie that was shot here? Knoxville did Bad Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bad
Oh,
Grandpa. And he ran into, and these guys were already my customers before they did the movie. It's a strip club, where guys strip club though, guys strip.
Yeah.
And if you see the movie, you know the scene. And they had no clue what was going on. It was like they totally, it was all legit, And then after they did the scene, hey guys, I need you to sign this contract. You're going to be in this
Right.
movie. Blah blah
Waivers.
blah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like usually they do that like fake where they pretend it's like that.
Right.
But this was legit. And those guys, they cashed checks with me. They made probably 50 grand from being in that movie
Wow. Yeah. I
over
probably-
time. Like their first check was like 10 grand, and then they started to dwindle down. And eventually they there's like a place you could sign on the back of the check, which I'm sure you know, where like I want to donate the rest of my residuals to whatever fund.
Oh, to SAG after or like the Actors Fund or something.
Yeah, once they get to be like less than the cost of postage, I mean, you might as
I-
well.
I've gotten many 1-cent checks, and it was so irritating because I would just be like, I'm not even going to cash this, but that would like upset them because it like ruined their accounting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but let's check the stamp, the ink, the person who licked the envelope. All of this costs way more than a cent. I was like, can't we sign something that says if it's under $1, we don't want it, take it, put it in an account for, I don't know, actors who need it or whatever.
Right.
But now it's direct deposit, which means I don't care. Just put it in there, whatever it is, just.
Well, they all aren't, because John Dugan, he got a check for 13 cents, right?
I was just going to bring that up. We had a couple of the guys from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre on a couple months ago, and Rick actually came up with a great idea, because they keep getting these checks sometimes for like a dime, you know?
Yeah.
Just like, instead of that, man, he's like, frame it with like an autographed photo and like sell it. It's an actual residual check from like a legendary horror film. Horror fans would
people will pay a couple $100 for that.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
so crazy to me, because I wouldn't, but I know that people would. There's a bar in LA, it's still here, but you can't do this anymore. It's called Residuals. And you could go in, if you brought in a residual check for 1 cent, they would give you a free drink.
Nice.
And they would put the 1 cent check on this like huge board on this wall. And they just had, if you go there, I think they still have checks. I haven't been there in a long time, but they still have checks all over the wall. And I was like, okay, well, at least it's worth a drink, you know, like it's worth something, like
the story.
Right. Or, you know, I have lots of stories. I could write a book about the stories, but yeah. It was, yeah. But I'm glad I turned that down, because the residuals from that was more than I made probably in my whole life. Just from that movie, because it made so much. It's still making money.
It did. Right. And I'm part of the checks you got, because I saw that in the theater and bought the DVD and
thank you. I owe you 3 cents or something.
Yeah.
Right on.
I'll text you my Cash App after the show.
Okay. I'll send it to you. I wish I was somewhere to donate the 1 cent. I think they must do something where I still sometimes will get like 7-cent deposits and stuff like that. I don't know. But yeah.
That would drive me crazy.
I'm giving, you know.
So Ryan's a big Breaking Bad fan. I caught your little show.
Oh, Breaking Fat?
It was great. Did you have to see any of that, Ryan?
No.
You should, because if you like Breaking Bad, you should see this atrocity.
I mean, it's right on my wrist.
Yeah, if you can see that, that's what's his name?
Nice. Oh, that looks cool. I love that.
I can't get a good shot of it.
It's good. We got.
I love Breaking Bad. That's one of the best shows ever.
Oh, absolutely.
It's such a good show. But yeah, a friend of mine, Lindsay Hollister, she's an actress. Also, she was like, I'm gonna do this web series called Breaking Fat, and we're fat girls who sell meth. And I was like, I'm in. That sounds
right. Why not? Right?
Amazing. Also, because like the whole thing is ridiculous, because like meth addicts are not fat.
Right. Yeah.
Because this doesn't have
like,
so
just like Artie Lang's rehab story. Artie Lang went to rehab for cocaine, and he was very overweight at the time.
And no one believed him. They were like, nah.
No, that guy he was rooming with, he's like, what are you in for? He goes, cocaine. And the guy goes, damn, what you putting that shit on cheeseburgers?
Yeah.
Well, you had my favorite line in the Breaking Fat when you're with the police, and they were like, they said you might eat them, and you said, no, I'm not going to eat you because I don't eat pigs.
Oh yeah,
it's not kosher.
That's David Krumholtz, who was in Oppenheimer, who just got nominated for an Oscar.
Oh wow!
So I didn't
see Oppenheimer yet.
Oh, I haven't actually seen it yet, but I heard he was amazing. But I met him on Superbad, because he had a pretty decent part in Superbad. And
at the party. At the party.
Yeah, with the slicked back hair and the suit and whatever. And he actually came up to me on set, and I didn't know it was like my second role or whatever. And he came up to me in front of my trailer, and he's like, I just saw you on TV. And I was like, me? Where did you see me on TV? And he saw me on the Tyra Banks show doing stand-up, because I did stand-up on her talk show. And he was like, you were so funny. And I was like, that's so crazy that David Krumholtz, who I've like been a fan of since he was a kid, is like. So anyway, so then when we did the thing, we were looking for a cop, and I was like, I'm going to call David Krumholtz. And he actually said yes for some reason and did it. Yeah, I said I don't eat pig. I forgot about that. That's
It's
funny.
great.
I would have enjoyed that.
It's really funny. Each episode is 3 to 6 minutes. There's 15 of them. You'll burn through it in like a
They're
day.
really, I mean, they're dumb, but they're fun.
It's funny, man. I laughed. I liked it. I mean, it's not going to win any awards or anything.
No,
but
and we did
it's
2
worth a watch.
seasons. Actually, the first season, an investor was like, we want to pay for another season because they just were fans.
Yeah.
And they flew us to Florida, put us up in like a house, and and paid for the entire production for us to shoot the second season at this house in Florida.
See, I'm glad that worked out because that sounds like the plot of a horror movie.
I'm telling you, no, they were really sweet people actually, and they helped fund Jackson Love too. They also ended up helping kind of invest in that. Cool. And then I think I ran them. I think we just used them up because they were like, we can't help you anymore.
Right on.
So without like Breaking Bad then existing, maybe none of that would have happened.
You know, I mean, it's possible. Although I think my parents probably put in more money into Jackson than anybody did.
Just trying to give Vince Gilligan another shout out like he needs it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He can put me in his next anything he wants.
Yeah. I wonder what his residual checks look like.
Right.
Well, when I got that Superbad check, I became friends with Lauren Rogan, who at the time was his girlfriend and now it's his wife.
Yeah.
And we became friends on set when I didn't know they were dating. And we happened to be in the scene together and we were chatting. And then I went to get a drink or something and I see her like in the back, like kissing Seth Rogen. And I was like, oh my God, this girl is macking on Seth Rogen. You know, I don't know what's macking like it's 1991, but and I went up to her and I'm like, did you just kiss? And she was like, he's my boyfriend. And I was like, oh. And so when we got our checks, she called me and she's like, did you get your check? Did you get your check? It was $10,000. I'm like, I know, me too. And I was like, what Seth's check look like? She goes, oh, you don't want to know.
Yeah.
A lot more.
A lot more. A lot more.
Many zeros.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, like he needed that too.
Well, he does. At that point,
at that time he might have though. Like,
at that point, he maybe did. Now, I would say he does not.
Yeah, that's
that was his
before,
first big movie, right?
That was before. What's that?
That was his first big movie.
Well,
Right?
No, he had done other things, but it wasn't like this was. He produced, he wrote, and he starred in it. Versus, I think it was one of the first ones that he actually wrote and produced, and had. Like,
the first
behind the scenes stuff,
like one of those big films. I remember he had a small part in 40-Year-Old Virgin. I know that.
Oh yeah.
And that was
all those guys are tied to Judd Apatow. That's why.
And it Knocked Up was before Superbad.
Yeah, well, and he did Freaks and Geeks, and I'm sure he made a good amount of money from that.
Oh, they didn't make any money from that.
No,
and it's the best thing he's probably done.
Oh, poor Seth.
No. I like his movies. I just love that show.
No, that show's a great show.
Yeah,
it's a great show.
It only went one season and it got canceled unjustly. In my opinion.
Know it's and everyone from that show kind of broke out. I don't think anybody on that show.
I don't think they're mad. Yeah,
they're all stars. Like now, it's crazy.
No, yeah. And I did a Judd Apatow. I did Drill Bit Taylor with Owen Wilson.
Okay.
And then I thought, I'm in the Judd Apatow family now that I did this. And then I went to the premiere, and Judd comes up to me. And he goes, "We had to cut you."
Oh,
why? And he's like, "I just want you to know that it was for time, and not because you weren't funny, and not because we didn't like you, because it was great and you were awesome. It just was like too long, and we needed to take stuff out because what I did wasn't like integral to the story." And he's like, "Don't worry, we'll get you in on something else. We'll have you back." And never again. I never.
We're waiting on that call, huh?
So either he lied and he hated me, or he just forgot. I don't know.
Yeah, probably that.
You found out at the premiere.
Yeah, it was like at the premiere. Like they didn't even. I hated. It was bad. I was like, we're walking in. I'm so excited. I was like, I'm gonna see it. I can't wait. I have a scene with Owen Wilson. Like such a big deal. And then. Same thing happened. I had a scene with Eddie Murphy in 1,000 Words, and it got cut. but it's in the deleted
Never even
scenes
heard
on
of
the
that movie.
DVD.
Okay, so it did make it to.
It's a bad movie. It
Oh,
was
okay.
him. It's him and Kerry Washington before she was famous.
Yeah.
Really, it was before Scandal, before really like
Yeah.
anybody really knew her. And the scene, I went to the movie and I'm watching and I'm waiting and I'm like, it should have been there. It's not there. Where is it? And that's how I found out. And then I waited for the DVD to come out and I was like, please be on the deleted scenes. Please. And it was. And I was like, ha, at least I'm on the deleted scenes. So
Get on.
yeah.
Now, would
That'd
you
be
get?
pretty-
Now, would you
Good.
get a residual from that since it was?
I think I do get residuals from that.
I would think so.
She
because
doesn't know because it
selling
didn't make any money.
I honestly don't know. I don't think it made any money. I feel like I've seen it on the.
What was it called?
It's called 1,000 Words. It's basically Eddie Murphy's character finds out he has only 1,000 words left to say before he dies. And so he has to eventually he stops talking because he only has so many words left. And if he says up to it like this 1,000, then he dies. So it's the scene with him and Kerry Washington and they're in a fight and I'm like a vendor selling like stuffed animals and she's trying to tell him he's an asshole. And she starts picking up different things and she's like, yeah. And I'm like dictating it for her. You're such a pig and a donkey and a blah, 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 and like whatever. And then he like looks at me and I'm like, men. You know, like,
Well, it's on Paramount Plus if you want to check it out.
oh my God. Yeah, you won't see me unless they put the deleted scene in, but
yeah, you won't get a residual from the stream, only from DVD sales.
But
it'll be on the DVD. It's also I posted it on my like professional Facebook page, the Rakefet Abergel. It's somewhere on there. Like I posted the scene.
I want to see it now.
It's
had a $40 million budget. It made 18 mil.
Ooh.
he did not want to be there. I actually had a horrible experience with him. He was not a nice person.
I've heard the same thing from most people.
It's unfortunate because I'm of course a huge fan and I was a
comedian
huge
yourself.
fan of him in the 80s and he was not nice and I don't think he wanted to be there. I don't know what was going on with him personally at that time, but it seemed like he was under contract to do this movie and not. The scene that I shot was at the Grove in LA. I don't know if the film was shot in Denver, but my scene was shot here.
Right on. Yeah, that's crazy. You got like one of the funniest people of all time, and you give him 1,000 words in the movie. That
Well,
sounds like a good game plan.
That was their first mistake. Well, he is expressive without it, but
It seems like it would have been a better vehicle for Jim Carrey.
Yes.
right. Yeah, I think honestly he signed some like 3-picture deal kind of a thing, and then they were just like, "This is what we're doing, and you're stuck." And
that's probably why he was
like
like that when you met him. He just didn't want to be there. Like, I'm here because I have to be. This just sucks.
They flew literally flew him onto set to do his lines, his close up and his wide, and then when it was my close up or Carrie's close up, they left us with his stand-in. So I actually didn't do I did the scene with him when it was on him, but when it was on me, I was doing it with his stand-in, not with him.
Right, Monique, her stand-in cashes checks with me. You know Monique.
I was also Melissa McCarthy's stand-in on Gilmore Girls for a while.
Nice.
Oh wow!
So that was
do
cool.
a little bit of that.
She's
You've done everything.
amazing. Yes, I was also her body double in the Heat poster. If you ever saw the poster, it's supposedly my body and her head.
I like that movie.
The Heat was a good movie.
I thought so.
Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. I'm sorry, you just can't go wrong with that.
Melissa McCarthy's hilarious. I really dig her. She's pretty.
I actually
awesome.
just saw, and I'm a big fan of this movie. The first movie she was in was one called Go.
I don't
Did
know
I
that.
see that?
1999, I want to say.
Right on.
I've
heard of it, but I don't remember it.
Weird.
Got Katie Holmes and Timothy Olyphant. And
I do remember it now. Yeah. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like 99, I want to say.
Oh wow.
I'm a big fan of that. It's like almost like it's like a crime film, but like 90s-ish. It's really weird. It's shot.
90s films were so great. I miss it. I miss the 90s in general. I just miss the 90s.
So
do I. I think we all grew up around the same time.
Yeah, I'm 44, so yes.
Same.
Same. We're all 44.
Well, we're all 44.
All 44.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'll be 45 in a couple months, but
Yeah,
yeah.
him.
I have till August, and I'm
Yes,
gonna
I'm the oldest.
So
Okay.
I'm the baby.
I'm the old man in the group.
I'm the baby then. I just turned in January.
Oh, welcome.
But yeah, So yeah, we all had the same bit then growing up. We all watched the
Nice.
same stuff, I'm sure.
Oh,
I would have
yeah,
thought you were actually younger than us, but that's.
I would have guessed that too.
I would have guessed at
Okay,
least 10
I
years
shouldn't
younger than us.
say,
But right
but
on.
I'm always kind of proud of it because people are like, "You look so good," and I'm like, "I know." I should just start telling people I'm 50.
Yeah, good.
I'm 50.
Really messed with the
But I started to get gray hair, which you can't see at the moment because I kind of brushed my hair over it. But
Right.
it's pretty.
What's crazy though is like you said, you tell people you're 50. 50 is like right next door to us. I mean, it's like there.
Slow
No,
down.
stop
Sound
it. My
crazy?
ex, I actually was married, and my ex just turned 50, and it's weird. It's weird to just think that.
Right. I've been
Weird.
thinking about that a lot lately for some reason. But are there any plans to turn any of your short films into feature films?
Yes. Theoretically. I started a feature for Boo. I started writing one.
Mhm.
It's been a few years since I've touched it. I worked on it for a while, and then I just got stuck on it, and I just didn't like what was happening with it, and I just stopped. I just was like, maybe I need to wait. And I actually, right before the lockdown, before COVID and everything, I had a meeting with Gunpowder and Sky, which they think they still exist. They're the ones who own Alter.
Okay.
And because it was on Alter, I got a meeting with them because they saw it on Alter and on their channel, and they were like, "We want to make this into a feature." And so I had a meeting with an executive, and so that's why I started to write it. And then the pandemic happened, and the woman who was like loving it got fired. And then the new person wouldn't answer my phone calls. And then the whole thing like fell apart. And I was like, fuck this script. I'm done with it. I'm not doing it. I don't care. COVID, whatever. Everyone's going to die. Like, it doesn't, like, whatever. But I have to get back to it because I would like to. And Jax, my fantasy is to make it into a Dexter-like
that'd be cool.
pilot.
I can see that being fun.
Very
Could get kind of crazy.
Kind of a thing. Maybe even have her inner monologue going on, just like kind of how he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that one should be a show. I would love for that to be like a series.
Shudder would probably be interested in something like that. If they don't
Whatever
have a lot of
Shudder wants for me, I will give to them. I don't know. The new one still, I don't see how it could possibly be. I guess I could see how it could be a feature. I don't know that I would want to do it because I don't know. I have other ideas and other things that I'd rather be working on than this was more of like a personal project than a career move of any kind.
Okay. So, go ahead, Brian.
I think Boo would work as a feature personally. I might be biased because I think there's a lot of backstory in that you could tap into.
There is. I do have the whole like outline. I was writing it with another writer, and we were kind of brainstorming it, and he's a great writer and a great friend, but he kept kind of going into like vampire hunter lore and like action and this, and I was like, that's not what this is. This is a character study.
Me personally, I would delve more into the dramatic aspect of it, and again, I'm biased, and this ties into the prop I had to go get.
Yeah.
And I think this is why Rick sent this movie to me first of all your stuff to watch.
Okay.
Is because of that.
Hey! Is that yours?
Yes.
That's awesome. Congrats.
I was curious what you're running to get.
You know what's funny is I stole that triangle.
Yeah.
When I was designing the chip,
I am deaf.
Oh, when I was designing the chip, I like took a bunch of like actual ones, and I was like,
I killed my mic.
I can hear you. Can you?
Yeah, because I unplugged it. I'm using the actual the
computer
device.
Yeah, technology.
Yeah, I knocked it over and it did something, and we'll deal with that later. But we can hear each other now, so that's good.
Okay, good. I want to get you one of the actual coins. I don't know if I have one here. I'll get you one. I'll send it to you. I have I made some. I'll send you guys both one. I made
That's
some
awesome.
to give out at screenings.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good prop for that.
It's not the same as in the movie. The one in the movie was very expensive
It's
and
very
it's
big
like
too.
metal and it's heavy.
Similar to Ryan's.
But
yeah, mine's pretty pimped out.
That's a really nice one.
Thank you.
The one we gave out looks like a poker chip. It kind of looks like a poker chip.
Yeah, I got the whole it's the thick layer of lacquer on that. I work in a warehouse all day. I've dropped that thing on the ground so many times that I didn't even put a dent in it.
What's the time on that? I couldn't see.
It's 1 year, but I got 21 months.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That is not easy. I've had my own addiction issues, so I do understand that's where a lot of that came from.
The first 6 months were tough. Since after that, I think you're on your way down the hill.
Sure. I mean, I quit smoking.
That's true.
I was a smoker for 25 years. And
now that's the hardest thing in the world for me to do. I quit over 20 years ago. So I didn't smoke long, but I remember it. And even today, if somebody's smoking a cigarette, sometimes I'll smell it and I want to smoke it. This is 20 years later.
It's been almost 4 years for me, and I still want one every day.
Really?
Isn't that horrible?
I quit too. I quit 18 years ago, and they make me want to puke.
Well, I hope that in an 18-year time period it'll get better. But even almost 4 years, and I'm still like, oh, I could have a cigarette.
I think with all addiction, you have to keep in mind that that you can't just do it once. Like you'll be thinking like, oh, I'll just have one cigarette or I'll have one drink or whatever have you. And it just
with any addiction, like that's a drug addiction, especially or an alcohol, like you can't. There was like a thing. It was like, nope, not one puff ever. That's what people kept saying to me, and it's true because if I had one puff, I'd be a full-on smoker.
You want to buy us a pack of cigarettes
for sure. For sure.
Especially too, if people still drink alcohol and they quit smoking cigarettes and they go out and drink, they want to smoke.
Do you know that I don't really drink anymore, mainly because I'm afraid if I do, I'll smoke.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's my fear is that I will just get drunk and somebody will be like, "Want a cigarette?" And I'll be like, "Whatever," you know. And then that's my biggest fear, honestly.
See, I'm a complete and total maniac with cigarettes. When I quit, I quit in the middle of a pack. Nice. And I left, there was like 9 of them left in there, and I left it on my nightstand for 2 weeks and stared at them every morning.
I think you have to do that.
Yeah, my girlfriend at the time was a heavy smoker, and she didn't live with me, but she slept there 4 or 5 nights a week.
You always go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I was still drinking a lot back then. It's 18 years ago. And you could still in Cleveland at that point smoke in the bars. Mm-hmm. So I'm a total anomaly. The way
that's amazing.
The circumstances, you know, that
it took me a pandemic to quit. I quit during the pandemic, and I woke up one day, and it was at the time where like people were even afraid to like go to the market, like they were afraid to touch anything. It was like the very beginning, and I woke up one day and I was out of cigarettes, and I thought, I'm too scared to go out there and get them and touch anything and breathe anything and see anybody. And I just said, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity where I'm locked in my house and actually afraid to leave and just make it into a rehab. And I was like, this is now rehab. This is rehab, and those things aren't allowed here, and I'm not going to go out and they're not going to come in. And I don't think I left the house for weeks. Yeah. I just was like, I'm in rehab. I just didn't.
I did that too when COVID first hit. I didn't go anywhere for weeks. I just had Whole Foods grocery deliveries, man.
Well, I got so used to deliveries that now I still do it. And
I know.
And it's not good because I
spend so expensive
amount of money on deliveries.
Yeah.
Like even Instacart, I don't go to the market anymore. I got so lazy.
It turned me lazy. I was like, I can't believe like how much I spent on like DoorDash, you know.
At the end of the year, I like cry. I'm like, what was I mean, I could have bought like a house probably in the last 2 years.
You spent more than your residuals.
Much more. much more than I literally worked just to buy DoorDash. I think I'm single-handedly keeping them in business.
Right on. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the film that we had you on for, so we can get into that now.
Sure.
Yeah, you want to tell us a little bit about the film Still that'll be at the Cleveland International Film Festival?
Sure. I hate it. Always kind of brings it down. We're always having a great time, and then I have to bring up this downer of a movie. I made some stickers for the movie that we're going to be giving out and stuff.
Cool.
When I send you the chip, I'll send you guys some of them also.
Well, we're going to attend the film festival, so we'll probably
get.
we'll be there.
We'll have them. I'm sending JP a bunch, so they'll be giving them out and everything.
Cool.
So Still, okay. Well, so in 2021, not like kind of sort of during the pandemic, but towards the end of all of the madness, I got pregnant accidentally. But I was like fine with it because I kind of wanted to get pregnant, so I was just like happy. And then I ended up having a miscarriage, and it was like a horrible, awful, horrific experience, as you can imagine. And it was like the only time that I was ever pregnant. So I honestly never thought I would be, because I thought I couldn't get pregnant, because I can't tell you how many times I should have gotten pregnant, but I didn't get pregnant.
That's a whole nother movie, and we don't talk about those on this show.
But like between 19 to 44, I could have gotten pregnant many, many times. That didn't happen. So it was kind of shocking and crazy and upended my life. But I was really happy, as anxious as I was. And I kind of had this whole future planned that my whole life was going to change. I'm going to have this baby, and I'm going to be alone because I don't have a partner. And I'm just going to raise it by myself. And I'm just going to my parents were like, we're going to help you. We'll help you find a different place to live so that you have more space. And I was really lucky that my parents were who are Orthodox Jews and did not get upset with me. They were like, it's okay. We're here for you. We got it. And I was like, thanks. And then of course I lost the baby. So when I lost it, it was pretty early on. Not that it makes it any better, to be honest, and that's kind of what the movie is about. The movie's about a whole life that you imagine that you're going to have, that when you lose the baby disappears with the baby. This whole future disappears. Yeah. And so it took me a while, and then I just decided I was going to write something, and I wrote a script. It's not my story, meaning like it's not what happened to me. Mm-hmm. In the film, she's much further along than I was, and it's more of it's just I wanted to raise the stakes a little bit for the character, for the visual and everything. But it's basically about a woman who is not dealing with her grief very well. And I wanted to make something that explained to people how it feels to lose a pregnancy, because I felt like there was a lot of people who did not understand what that means, or what to say, or what not to say, or what, like there was a lot of people telling me, oh, you can try again. And I'm like, with who? How? What are you like? You have no idea if I can or cannot try again. Or thank God or like, well, at least it was early, or, just get over it, like all sorts of.
Just get over it. Wow. That's harsh.
Man. It was so early. Like it happens. It's so common, this happens to everybody, and it's just like, I'm grieving. Like you would never say that. And I thought you would never say that to somebody who lost a baby, like a literal baby they had in their arms, and they like went out with the baby, and then the baby disappeared, and nobody would say to them, it's fine, he was young, you can get another one, who cares, And I thought, and to them, I think they thought they were helping me in their own way. And for me, it was incredibly difficult to hear those kinds of things. And I was talking to other people who had the same experience, and they also were like, yeah, I've heard this and I've heard that and whatever. And so that's kind of the central part of the film, is like her kind of hearing these things, and it triggers her memory of what happened. And anyway, the script that I wrote was a great script, I think. I mean, it won awards. It was a good script, but we shot it and then we edited it, and it was the worst movie I had ever seen. the first cut was like it's an 11.
Hey guys, that movie you're gonna go see, it sucks.
No. It's
Okay.
now it doesn't suck.
Okay, good.
But the first cut, which every movie first cut sucks, but this was so bad. It was 18 minutes and slow and boring and plotless. And I thought, oh my God, what did I do? Like, I just did all this work and this is a horrible movie. And actually, when I was working on Never Hike Alone, I got the cut while we were up in the mountains shooting, and I was like, we're throwing this away. I can't make this movie. And then when I was done shooting, I went back to the editor and I was like, we have to do something. We have to salvage it. And so we ended up going, I took just 3 people from my crew, my cinematographer, sound, and our gaffer. And we went up to the Angeles Forest, actually where we shot Never Hike Alone. We went back up there and shot some like extra footage. And then we just got creative with the cut. And so it became a little bit more, I don't know what the word is. Some people have called it experimental. I don't like that word because it still has a narrative. It's not experimental. It's just became more dreamlike and nightmarish and just kind of instead of just telling this like linear story, we kind of like played around with the time and played around with what happens first and what you see and when you see it and stuff like that. And it got, I think, a lot better. So now I think it's good. Now it's at 11 minutes, which is what it should be, 11 and a half minutes, not 18 minutes of just me crying for 18 minutes. And then we hired Andrew Dawson, who won an Emmy for American Horror Story sound design.
Oh, nice.
And so he came on board, and he didn't have a job because of the strike. And so he was like, I'm free. And I was like, great. And he just added all the sounds that makes it very horror-y now. And we had Catherine Capozzi, our composer, did this like creepy music. And so I don't know. It's hard to say. It's not really a horror movie, but it's not a horror movie. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of, I don't know. It's a version of a horror movie. If people are going in expecting like horror, I think they're going to be disappointed. Like, I don't know, whatever they think horror is. It's
horror adjacent.
It's horror adjacent. It's dark.
Big thing on this show.
Yeah, that's a big
Oh, is it? Yeah, well, it's definitely horror adjacent. We had one, actually, Cleveland, they originally, when I sent it to one of the programmers, he's like, where would you put this? Is this horror? Is this drama? Is this? And I said, honestly, anywhere you think that it fits. Like, if you want to put it in a drama section, great. If you want to put it in a horror section, great. He's like, well, I wouldn't want to offend you by putting it in the horror section. And I was like, it's not, I wouldn't take it offensively. I definitely went a little bit in that direction because the experience was a horror movie for me.
Yeah.
And for me, it was very much a horror movie. So, And I think for anybody that experiences that, it's very much a horror experience.
Everyone's own trauma is their own personal horror movie, you know?
Yeah.
So
It's just, I think it's probably more sad than scary. But I do think that I don't think there's a lot of movies out there that cover this topic the way that I did. Like, they might make it very after school special,
right.
you know. And I was like, no, I want to make this like, this is terrifying for her. This is a terrifying thing that she's going through. And did I end up sending it to you? Oh no, you're gonna see it at the okay, good.
Yeah, I'm gonna see it at the
I don't want to tell you what happens at the end, but the end is
Yeah.
pretty horrific. I mean, like Boo is not really a horror movie till the end either. I don't think it's more of a kind of a drama.
It's suspenseful though.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this one is probably, I would call it a psychological horror.
That's more my speed.
Right.
That's the kind of horror I like. I don't need the gore and
I can tell from your films that you're
it's
and
not
that's good. Like when you said that in the beginning, like you thought that horror has to do with gore. I think the gore not being there and it being implied most of the time, the horror being implied is definitely more scary than just blood everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
We mention this all the time. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre only had 3 cups of blood in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Wow. I still haven't seen it because I'm just
It's
Yes.
that was a roller coaster ride for sure.
Yeah, people think it's. I mean, as a filmmaker, I think you'd appreciate it. Just the direction is just so
I
good.
love the older horror movies
And the
because
shots
they don't rely on the gore the same way. Like Saw movie, even the first Saw movie was so good.
It is so good
because it's really just about the characters. It's not really about the gore. And then, of course, it kind of evolved into
it turned into nothing but gore in the end.
But I love the first one because the first one is about them being in a horrific situation.
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? And to me, that's way more interesting than body parts flying around and stuff like that. Not to say there's not an audience for that or a place for that or people like I've enjoyed sitting in big audiences and watching stuff and everyone being like, like whatever. But
also helped they got some really good actors in the first Saw.
Yeah, me and Ryan both think that's one of the greatest horror movies of all time. The first Saw movie, you really
it's way up there.
The ones after those were just.
Well, that's what got me. My ex-boyfriend was like obsessed with the series, and he made me watch them when I would sleep at his house, and he would fall asleep while we were watching them, and it would piss me off because I'm like, you're making me watch these fucking movies, and then I'm alone, laying in the dark, watching this movie, and you're like, like,
I feel like the further along that series got too, it had nothing to do with any character work or anything. It was just like people just went to see the traps, just get to
and I think a lot of that. So I happen to know Josh Stolberg very well, who wrote the last two, and I know Michael Spierig, who directed I think it was 10.
I love
I love 10.
Love that.
But both of them have told me, more Michael than Josh, but Michael had, like, the Spierig brothers, they had a huge problem with the network telling them, like, they wanted to make a good movie. I don't know if it was 10 that I'm talking about, but whatever movie it was that they directed. And the network was like, listen, we need to give the fans what they want. They want this. They want that. They want this. And they're like, yeah, but we have better, more interesting ideas. And they were like, yeah. We want to just give them. And it was like, I would have loved to see what they would have come up with because I think they're genius directors. And whatever came out was good, but it wasn't like, I think it could have been better. I think it could have been, instead of just saying, let's just give the fans what they want. And I'm like, sometimes fans don't know what they want until they see it. Like, why do they want that stuff? Well, somebody did it a while ago and nobody had done it. And now they want, you know what I mean? It's like, I think fans just appreciate good movies.
Oh, for sure.
And yes, I see Bill Wolf said, I love body parts flying around.
And I like that too sometimes. But I also like a movie like that makes me think a little bit. That's more about, character development and, things like that. And, like, again, the suspense just traps you in, and then, you get a little twist and something crazy. And sometimes that's better than just, and I mean, I like them both. I like movies where people are getting chopped up like crazy and it really has no rhyme or reason. That's cool. That's fun too. Eat your popcorn. But movies that make you think are definitely better.
See, I need a reason, and everything you said is exactly why I'm not a fan of those Terrifier movies.
Yeah, he hates the Terrifier movies. I don't know if you've seen those.
It's just so gratuitous.
I also just I get grossed out. This is the reason why I don't like, why I thought I didn't like horror movies, because that's what I thought that they were. And then when I saw other kinds of movies, even like The Lodge, if you saw that, it is a terrifying movie. From what I can remember, nothing really gory happens, but it is terrifying. And it is like, it leaves you with the most disgusting feeling of dread in your body. And I remember the movie ended and I was like, I just want to kill myself right now. Like, it was just like, it was so good. It was so well done. And to make you feel all of that without like chopping up people, I don't know. I think it's harder to do.
Right. It definitely is harder to do for sure.
Yeah.
And, you get something original. It's definitely much better. So we've had like 15 people commenting the whole night, which is awesome. But the only problem is none of them live within.
None of them are from Cleveland.
500 miles of Cleveland.
Well, we can extend the giveaway, maybe just like to any, like on your
I'm gonna just do it. I'm gonna do it on the page
Nashville.
later. I just commented, "Is anybody here from Cleveland?" and nobody's responded. So I was hoping somebody was
and I'm
watching
so
that
sad.
hasn't commented.
I'm not even gonna be there, which I'm super bummed about because it's
Virginia
our
says
world
she's from
premiere.
Toledo. Virginia, you want to go to the Cleveland Film Festival? If you do,
Oh, Virginia's going. I gave her a ticket.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, Virginia's already going. She sent me a message. But maybe I don't know. Maybe
we got 500 followers on the page, and 300 of them are from Cleveland. So we'll get somebody to go. And keep in mind, if you guys are in Cleveland and you are listening right now, and you comment right now, and you want these free 2 tickets, and you live in Cleveland, I'll even get you a ride down there.
Oh, that's so sweet. I also have some more tickets. So if for some reason, 2 people can't or whatever, or like you have more than 2 people that want it, or for whatever reason, I probably just like talked it down to your horror audience. I'm like, it's not horror. But it's good.
It's good, but there's it's a whole block of films.
It is a whole block. I don't know what the other films are, but it's an after-hours block, so it's all the weird, dark horror genre-y type stuff. So I'm sure there will be other great films. And Cleveland International. I mean, it's a pretty big festival. They're not Sundance, but they're close. So you know that it's going to be good stuff.
Put this up here for a second.
So
these are covering everybody up. Yeah.
Oh, and Bounce House. Bounce House is my friends wrote and directed that. I haven't seen it yet, but they are so talented. So whatever it is, I'm sure it's amazing.
Right. So you get, if you buy a ticket to this after hours program too, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 movies, give or take 8, 9 movies. And I didn't know. I thought you only watched your movie. That's what I was like.
Oh no, that wouldn't be enough. Even I'm doing a VIP screening here for like my cast and crew and some friends, and I'm like, I don't want to drag everybody out for an 11-minute movie, so I'm actually doing a full screening of Jax, Boo, and Still.
Well, that's a great idea.
And then I'm also showing, we have a behind the scenes for Still, a 5-minute featurette with some interviews and showing us making the movie and stuff like that. But it has spoiler stuff in it, so we gotta wait till after.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Right on. So we usually go about an hour. We've been going about an hour, so we're gonna get this wrapped up. Somebody commented. Hopefully it's somebody from Cleveland. Let's see.
No, New Mexico.
So bring it to New Mexico. We got you.
I did submit it to some places in New Mexico, so hopefully we've submitted to about 60 film festivals right now. So hopefully we'll have more locations, and hopefully I'll get to be at them.
New Mexico.
You're on the West Coast, right?
Waiting on that.
I'm in LA. Yeah.
She's definitely LA based. I could tell.
Oh, is it the way I talk?
Little bit.
Oh.
Yeah. That and just the plethora of credits you have, you're not going to have credits like that living in Texas.
That's
Cleveland?
true. I like that reason better than that I sound like a Valley girl. I'm sure I do.
Well,
yeah, it was definitely more of the huge IMDb. You have to actually scroll.
Oh yeah, I've built a long career of.
That's impressive,
nothing,
though.
Really.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
And here I am making short films, but
Yeah, I seen in some interview that you said you went backwards. You went from the Hollywood blockbuster to independent films. Like most people do it the other way.
Right. No, I kind of went the other way. And honestly, I still audition for things, but I don't focus on it that much because I'd rather just make my own stuff. And I don't know. It's just less of this industry sucks. It sucks. Don't get into it.
We hear that a lot.
It sucks.
Yeah,
I think
we definitely heard that a bit.
And don't quote me on this, Rick, but I think she might have the most credits of any guest we've ever had. Just the amount.
Wow.
Maybe.
That's so exciting. Do I get I would love some kind of recognition for that.
Well, I'll double check that fact and I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure he might be right. Because we've had some
big Schwag might give her a run because of his voice.
Oh yeah, because he did a lot of stunt work and stuff.
Voiceover work too.
And voiceover work. Brett Wagner. He was he's one of our favorite guests for sure. Yeah, so fun to talk to. He was in Texas Chainsaw for one scene.
And, love it.
He got himself hurt.
And he got hurt and he got replaced.
Oh wow.
And he's always wanted to do this movie. He had this really cool story about the audition that he did. He was there for a commercial, and he's seen on the door TCM, and he knew that it was the new Texas Chainsaw movie. So he finagled his way into there. He shot this video of him just being like big, crazy, hulking Leatherface, and just grabbed like the secretary, threw her over his shoulder, walked out, and he got the part because of it. And he was so happy, so excited, you know.
Wow.
And then he got hurt after the one scene. So he's
that
only in it for
was a
one
different
scene.
time, because if somebody pulled that now, they'd sue them
Yeah, probably.
for sure.
Because he didn't give her the Iggy. He didn't let her know before he was doing it.
No,
He just
I can imagine that being a really big problem now, but like, good for him. Like, that's amazing.
But yeah, but he's been a stunt guy. He got into wrestling a little bit. So he has a ton of credits.
Yeah, that's right. And that thing with him too is the voiceover work, which to me the voiceover work is like the golden ticket, man.
Yeah.
Just go to the studio in your pajamas and talk into a microphone.
Honestly, somebody yesterday was like, I have some voiceover work, and I'm like, please, I will take it in a second. He's like, can you do a 4-year-old kid? And I was like, no. Can you find me a role that's just me?
Like, don't make me work too hard for
this. I'm not that good, okay? No, there are two kinds of actors. There is Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson in every single thing he does. He is always Jack Nicholson, and he's amazing.
He's amazing.
Amazing, and I love Jack Nicholson, but he's always Jack Nicholson. And then there's like Meryl Streep, who can be anything.
Chameleon.
And they're both incredible actors, but I am a Jack Nicholson. I'm just always going to be me, as you can see from probably all of my movies. I'm just me. A little scarier version of me, maybe.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though, because like your old co-star Seth Rogen parlayed that into a career too.
Oh God, yeah,
Seth Rogen is another good example. You know who I used to say, oh my, wow, I can't even talk, but Adam Sandler, who was my co-star in another movie, but he has done incredible things with his career, like to be able to do what he's doing now versus like Billy Madison or whatever. It's amazing how he has managed to like jump out of that comedian role to do these other things like Uncut Gems, which was
Uncut Gems.
That was good.
Phenomenal.
I think Punch Drunk Love
was amazing.
Rain Over Me was good too.
Did you see Uncut Gems, Ryan?
Yes.
I saw it twice, and I think it almost gave me a heart attack both times. It's so nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah.
The whole time you can't breatve. And
it's intense.
And even after when I saw it the second time, I know what's gonna happen.
The ending still got you.
And I'm still like, like it's just like so. But he's a somebody I would like to emulate his career.
I love when people like that like play against type, and it turns out to be really good.
Absolutely,
he's done it a few times now.
Is that sometimes they don't give you those opportunities,
right?
And luckily he can make those opportunities for himself now.
Which he had to, right?
But if it was back in the day when he was on SNL, nobody would have been offering him Uncut Gems. Like that wouldn't have been offered to him. He had to prove it with Punch Drunk Love and other stuff. And anyway, he's amazing. I played his sister and Just Go With It. And he's the nicest, sweetest, kindest person. And I love him. So
right on.
I love Adam.
So we're going to wrap this up. Again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Cleveland Film Festival, I think it's clevelandfilm.org. It's in the thingy rolling at the bottom of the screen. And I have a couple of friends that I sent you a message while we were talking. A friend of mine, he experienced, well, from a male perspective, losing a baby mid-pregnancy. And he wrote this song, and I sent it to you. And he's the guitarist in the band. The band is The Killer's Confession, the real good friends of ours. And I think you'll like that. And I had a couple other friends that had experienced this, what you've experienced. And like you were saying, everybody was coming up to you and saying all these things, but you don't know what to say unless you've been in that situation and experienced that. And everybody's going to be different. And I hope that somebody can see your story and it could help them probably with what they're going through, because this is something that could stay with you for like so long. So I had a couple friends that, real close friends that experiences this, and I invited them to see the show tonight with you.
I'm sorry to them for their losses. I also wrote a song for the movie, and you can watch the music video on YouTube also, and it has scenes from the film in it. And I would love to hear his song.
I think you'll like. I think, yeah. Yeah, like it's pretty emotional, especially when you realize what it's about and everything. And the first time I heard it, I had no idea what it was about. Then once he told me that, and he was playing it live, and that's just getting all emotional. But like he was crying on stage, and I was too, because I could just had this connection with him at that moment. And it was just,
Oh my
I think I
God.
dig the song though. So just let me know what you think of that.
Hear it. No, that's the best thing to do with your pain is to turn it into art. That's my number one thing. Turn your pain into art. I think Carrie Fisher said that. But it's true because then other people can see it and relate to it, and that's what art should be, I think.
Right. And yeah, and it can, totally help people get through what they're getting through and everything. So again, after all that, just thank you so much for coming on. Bill Wolf says nice interview. Sarah Rosenblatt says nice interview. And thank you guys all for showing up. If I'm gonna go on the page and I'll find somebody else, somebody from Cleveland that'll be able to use those tickets. But
please, I would love for you guys to go. It'll be fun.
Awesome. So I'm gonna remove you from the feed. Me and Ryan are gonna close the show up, and then I'm gonna go to work and go drive people around and hopefully make a couple dollars.
Oh, fun!
Thanks for having
me.
You guys thanks for coming, and I'll get back to you after we see the film and let you know what we thought about it.
Oh, please do. And anytime you guys want to talk to me, I would love to talk to you. You're so fun.
It was a great time. Definitely, I had a good time. Thank you very much for coming on.
All
okay.
Right. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Alrighty then. That was really, really fun.
Yeah, she's a real sweetheart, man.
Right on.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was a good time. I'm really looking forward to that film festival. You ever did a film festival?
A long time ago.
Yeah, see, I never did. And Donald went to a lot of them because he was working right there, and he'd just walk over after work. He ran at Starbucks in Tower City forever, and then now he's at the casino, so he's like still there.
Right there, yeah.
And but now with them being I'm curious to see like at Playhouse Square, because that's where it is, the Allen Theater. Mm-hmm. If you need a ride, I'll take you, and we'll find somebody from Cleveland that might want to go. And
when do I need a ride anymore?
Well, you have a car, but no sense taking two cars, right?
I guess, especially parking down there.
Yeah, I got a connection. To park for free though.
All right.
And when your kid's some kind of a manager at a casino, you get perks. Might even be able to get some free buffets before the thing too.
I'm always down with that.
Maybe throw some cards around. Who knows? We'll see how it goes.
Oh, I've never done that before.
I know, right? you didn't make that your job for like a year or two.
Now that I don't drink anymore, it might even be enjoyable because of our stupid laws about not giving free drinks to gamblers in Ohio.
Oh, that's why they don't? I didn't know that.
That's a law, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right on. I don't drink that much anymore either.
Oh, back when I used to go to Vegas though, man, I drank like a fish.
Yeah, I bet. I know. I mean, I think it was in New York you can too. Not in Detroit, but in New York you can.
Well, in New York you can.
I always thought it was the policy of the casino, though. I didn't know there were laws that had to do with it. Because I went to Seneca in New York, and they would bring you free drinks.
See, the thing is, though, in Ohio, they could sell it at cost, but they don't.
Yeah, because they're greedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really, really fun, man.
Yeah.
Definitely. I always get nervous going into these interviews, man. I always have the fear that we're gonna, you ever see Chris Farley on Saturday Night Live when he was interviewing people like Paul McCartney's the most famous one?
Yeah.
I always think we're gonna be like that, like. So you were in this movie. So you were in the Beatles. That's cool.
Yeah, that's classic.
So I always get nervous, but I think we did really good. I think it was really fun. She was really fun to talk to, and she had a lot of experiences and different things. I killed my microphone halfway through, but we recovered from that. You took over good there, and
awesome. I did my homework a little bit because, like I said, I've seen a lot of things she's in.
Yeah,
definitely. And
she was in that party scene in Superbad, by the way.
Yeah, towards the end of the movie.
Right. Yeah. And she did have a speaking line. Oh yeah, she offers a tampon to Jonah. That's her. But it's 8:14. I got to do at least 4 rides to get this $45 bonus. I need money for the weekend, so I'm gonna get the hell out of here. Thank you everybody that showed up. Share the video, like and share. Buy a ticket if you're in Cleveland. Support people doing stuff. It's always fun. Hopefully we'll see some of you guys down there. I have 2 free tickets to somebody from Cleveland. I'll make a post about it later. If you message me before I make said post, then they'll be yours. And yeah, do you have anything else you want to add before I get the hell out of here?
Just fighting off this little stomach thing, but hanging in there.
You did. You hung in there like a champ. You the whole time. You didn't leave. Good stuff.
I got my water tonight. That's
water. No ginger ale.
Oh, I had some of that blackberry ginger ale in the fridge. Maybe I'll have a little glass of that.
I wonder if that works the same as regular ginger ale. I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna
find out.
Taste better while I find out.
There you go.
I like regular ginger ale anyway, though.
I do too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's it, man. Just been a rough week. Back to work now after vacation. It's always tough going right back.
That's insane that we had so many people commenting and not one person from Cleveland commented the whole time. We had people from Illinois, from people from New Mexico, from Michigan, from probably, I'm going to go out on a limb and say California with the people that she brought. And then the one person from Ohio that we could get a ticket to already has them.
Yeah. Well, I
fun.
know people that are definitely be interested in going to this.
Right. So yeah, the tickets will definitely get used. So that's good.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And so we're gonna get the hell out of here. Check us next week. Next week we have
Elmore.
We have a guest, Bob Elmore.
Yeah.
Bob Elmore, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 Leatherface. The week after that, if you guys are paying attention to the thingy down there, we have Marty Schiff, who was in Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Dawn of the Dead, Creep Show, among other things. And they're both going to be at the Ohio TerrorCon that we will be at. And hopefully we see you guys out there. You guys come out there to see us. And, well, more importantly, Bob Elmore and Marty Schiff and the like.
Dawn of the Dead.
August 17 and 18, if I'm not mistaken.
By the way, Dawn of the Dead, my favorite zombie movie.
Yeah, I like Day better, but that's just me.
That's okay.
And my favorite is Night, but that's beside the point.
I like Dawn better than Night. I like Dawn better than Night.
Yeah. Well, some people do, man. Some people are really into Dawn. And I go on a little tangent for a second. Dawn of the Dead, our friends from the not the sloppy, what is it? The horror picture show. What's it called? The
Spooky
picture show.
God
damn it! I knew I was going to get it right, and I messed it up worse than ever. Crossed it with a whole different podcast. But our friends from the Spooky Picture Show, they did a podcast. Their latest podcast was on that film and another zombie film. And I don't remember off the top of my head what the other one was. But hearing Chris McGibbon talk about it and some of the undertones that were in the movie that I necessarily didn't pick up on, but I was able to appreciate it after he pointed it out and how much the movie meant to him and why it meant so much to him as a gay man.
Yeah.
And it's just really cool when you see stuff like this in horror, how inclusive it is and how it makes everybody feel welcome and together and belonging. And it's the best thing about this stuff. And that gave me a little bit of a new appreciation for it. But I like all three films. And Dawn would probably be the third, in my opinion, in that series. Wow. But I did get a new appreciation for it because of that.
That's okay. We don't agree on everything. So.
Oh, no, we're not going to. That's for sure.
We agree on all, like, too many Friday the 13th movies. Like, it would be more interesting if we didn't.
Yeah, it would.
So it's cool. We'll get around to those eventually because we got to cover those at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
The Romero zombie films are so timeless. So, but yeah, that's it for me, man. I need a nap.
All right, no problem. And she just commented, thanks, guys. Love chatting with you. So fun. Yeah, no, it was really awesome having you. And thank you so much for taking the time. And we're going to go check out the flick, and we'll get some other people to check out the flick with us. And on that note, Ryan, you got anything else to add?
Good evening, everyone. And the neighborhood, there it goes.